Welcome to Conversations with Character. I am here with Levi Zadoff, who is part of TWD with Dead Handrix. They're making moves out in Cali and Canada, all sorts of shit, man. I want to hear his whole story. Let's start at the beginning, man. How old are you? Where are you from?
23 years old. Where I'm from is a little bit complicated. I was born in Amsterdam. I lived in Portland, Oregon, which is where I'm at right now. I lived in San Francisco for the majority of my youth, so that's where I go ahead and identify from. Lived there for about 8 years. I also lived in China, Australia, and a bunch of other places. So when it comes to where I'm from, it's a little bit difficult, but I identify with the Bay Area. That's kind of my, that's where my people are. That's where I came up in the game with rap and music in general and just being an artist. And so, yeah.
I've never met anyone from Amsterdam, bro, ever.
I lived there for maybe like 1 year, 9 months, 8 months.
Were your parents in the military?
No, my father and mother basically were executives for Nike. And they did a lot of traveling, and my dad kind of was one of the individuals that kind of took care of business, or like in like Europe and like Eastern Europe. My mom was a big wig over there too as well, and so they kind of did a lot of different stuff that involved us traveling a lot. That's their deal.
How did that affect you growing up?
It was cool. I mean, for me personally, I have a lot of experience with different cultures, and that allows me to be able to interact with tons of different people, code switch kind of fluently when it comes to the situation that I'm in. It doesn't matter if I'm in, Marin City, Oakland, like downtown Los Angeles, fucking Hollywood, Portland, Oregon, Melbourne, Australia, in parts of Europe. I'm able to kind of switch to code switch as necessary, which is one of my fortes. That's why a lot of people know me. It's why my name gets around a little bit. So I got into music in a kind of interesting manner. So my brother got me into a lot of like old school hip hop. That's going to include things like Tupac, Biggie, Mobb Deep, Andre 3000, and then he got me into a lot of classic Bay Area hip hop, such as Too Short, Mac Dre, Andre Nicotina, Keep the Sneak, and that was like where I was like, holy shit, like this is very unique, this is dope. But like even before that, my mom had me into like classic rock, and my dad had me into like jazz, and like that song by Ray Charles, Hit the Road, Jack.
Oh hell yeah.
Like shit like that. That was like my favorite song back in the day. And so I kind of just became like a progression from like classic music to classic rock and then to hip hop, and that was my taste. And that was when I was about like 11 or 12 at that point, where I got to that third phase of hip hop. Just listening to it, enjoying it, learning about the culture, watching documentaries. And I just kind of became like super obsessed with like the creation of the music. I was watching like folks like Dr. Dre, like really great producers, like and also just like icons within like the classic like era of hip hop, like the cornerstone of what people would consider hip hop even to this day, 30 years later, 35 years later. Yeah. So from there, as I'm kind of going through middle school, I'm like, shit, like I want to get involved in this a little bit. I want to see what I can do because I love this genre of music so much. And so I started producing.
Okay.
I downloaded Ableton, which is what I wanted to pull up in the background on my computer, just because I'm a big advocate for Ableton. Okay. You know what I mean? It's what I learned on. Once you get past the learning curve, you are literally able to produce, record, mix, master in really proficient, effective, quick ways. And so for somebody like me that kind of makes music on the fly, I'm a big kind of like not like freestyle it completely, but like just line by line, kind of like just where it goes. Yeah, and that goes with also producing. You know, even though producing has a lot of composition and music theory that I understand towards it, you know, that's how I go with it. I'm really free-handed. And so I started producing like that, and it became something where a lot of people were like, holy shit, this is really good. Couldn't find artists to go on my beats because I'm like in 8th grade.
Right.
So me and my best friend at the time, his name's Anthony Kudo, but he goes by King Kudo. Haha, throw an image of him right there. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, King Kudo is he's my best friend. We basically, the first time that I recorded to one of my beats, we broke into an abandoned mansion in like the rich part of the Bay Area, the North Bay, just right up the hill from him, and we ordered like Puerto Rican food and like put my interface in, and because there's still power for like an outlet for like the interface and shit and my charger, and like we just fucking like we made our first song together there. Like we never released that shit. It was, honestly, I think it's good. You know what I mean? I think it's decent for being an 8th grader and like recording an abandoned mansion with shit acoustics, you know?
Right.
And you know, that was our first track, and then I just kept kind of going from there. And then in 9th grade, I released my first ever like track to the world on SoundCloud. It's called First Impressions. Great name for a first track. Yeah. This guy James Humphreys from back in the day. Shout out to McAdoo, aka Black Ice. I haven't heard from that motherfucker in a while. For you know, coming up with that name. But yeah, you know, release First Impressions, and it gets like 4,000 streams or something within like a couple months, and I was like, oh, this is decent enough for people to listen to it. And then it just kept going from there, and we can get into more details, but that's how it started.
Okay.
Long story, but that's how it started.
All right, so you're in 8th grade, 9th grade, and you drop your first track, and you're 23 years old now, so, you know, there's a good amount of time. You stuck with Ableton the whole time. Like, first of all, as an 8th grader learning Ableton, that back then too, and it was harder to find the YouTube videos and things like that. How did you learn all that?
I just popped the Zen out of my fucking tooth. Zenachino, Zenaruski. The Zimbabwe, my bad. So we basically, like, me and Kudo like kind of got into this shit at the same time, because like one of the things I forgot to mention is he kind of got me like freestyling and shit. Okay. And so like you know, you were asking like how long it's like been that I've been doing this shit, basically.
Well, I mean, yeah, and how did you learn? How did you teach yourself Ableton back then? Yeah,
and so okay, my bad. So like basically time creates the perfection to a degree. You put in your 10,000 hours and you're gonna be good at anything. But Kudo got me kind of like freestyle. We're like, how the fuck do we make these ourselves, you know, like for our own sake? And it was one of those things where I've always been interested in kind of like art and creation. I've always been an artist, a painter, a drawer, you know, and so I just locked in. I didn't watch YouTube videos even. I downloaded Splice for some like loops, and I was studying the loops and how they actually look on like the MIDI board, so I'd convert them to MIDI, like if I was able to, and just see what it looks like. And then that was like how I first started. And then I was just trying to I started by replicating shit on Splice, just loops, because I know how to make it with my own sound, you know, if it was not like fully cleared. And I didn't want to be one of those loop producers. So, you know, I started picking up piano. Wow, just got a keyboard. Still got the same keyboard from back then. It's over there, just as a memento. And so by the time I kind of hit like 9th, 10th grade, I was relatively proficient. Wow. Not great, but relatively proficient. That's why I describe it like that. And it just kept progressing from there. You know, one of the things that happened next with my music career is I ended up switching high schools. I went from like a public high school to an academy. I got like a little grant just based on the music that I was doing, as well as I tested. I did a little test, a little bit of, you know, showed them the music. I got a little bit of a grant. Wow. And so I was able to, go to this place called Fusion Academy. And my bad.
You good?
At Fusion Academy, I had a music teacher. He was a Grammy-nominated producer and engineer. His name is Jeff Colheedy. I haven't heard from him in a while. We haven't talked in a while, but I credit a ton of my musical forte to that man. The development, just like being in class with that one guy one-on-one a lot of the time, because that's what the academy was like, just one-on-one kind of like with teachers. I got a lot of decent education, and then beyond that, I got a lot of good music education with somebody who is like literally like a professional,
Sure.
And so that was really where it stepped up, but it progressed in that manner, just me fucking around to me like actually being mentored, after a couple years there.
That's crazy, bro. I've never known anyone who learned how to make beats by kind of backward engineering loops and samples. That's a hell of a way to learn.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the various ways that I did it. A lot of it was also just trial and error, just trying to learn different aspects of music theory and playing around with shit. And
What'd you do after high school?
Yeah, so basically right after high school, what I did is I went to Los Angeles within 6 months. I went to a culinary school for a bit. I didn't want to go to a general college, spent 4 years there. I wanted to get a little bit of a trade degree. I ended up actually dropping out of culinary school within like the last stretch. Just wasn't really my thing. So I don't really have a degree, but I can say I went there and I could cook in a kitchen if I needed to. But as I said, it wasn't my thing, so I've never done that. And when I was in Los Angeles, doing culinary school, the reason why I ended up dropping out is because I was very distracted with music stuff, various aspects of life. There was shit that had went on in the Bay Area, maybe a year or two before that made me a very paranoid individual regarding like police and potentially like being locked up and stuff.
You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, it's the statute of limitations. This will be the first time I actually ever talked about this because statute of limitations passed its 5 years. It's not like I ever did anything fucked up. It's not like I'm that kind of person. But what ended up happening is one of the reasons why I was so distracted that first time I went to LA is 2018, 2019 in San Francisco. One of my buddies actually ended up, wouldn't call him a buddy actually. I actually only had seen the kid about 5 times. So an acquaintance, somebody that kind of rolled in the same group that I was in, had committed a murder, and unknowingly I had ended up seeing him probably about somewhere between the span of 30 minutes and an hour afterwards.
Wow.
He ended up like being in my car with a couple of my other buddies, and obviously it's a very serious thing, and so a couple days later I end up getting detectives at my door and shit like that. Asking me all types of questions, searching my car to see if there's any kind of sus stuff, and they end up kind of doing their investigation. And I the only thing I say to them, just because this is all that I know, is at the time I was with this individual, had no idea what had happened. I have no information regarding the situation. But 2 days later, I read it in the news and realized who I was with. And they were like, oh, well, that's, whatever. They were like, yeah, that's a good story. Let's search your shit. They searched my shit. Don't find nothing, obviously. there's detectives, private investigators, things like that, just following me for a little bit
Wow,
in the Bay Area, just for a short amount of time, not too intensely either. So I don't want to overplay it, but they're making sure that I'm not lying to them.
Right.
I'm sure phone records got subpoenaed, things of that nature. And a lot of other, and there were other boys that probably had more knowledge of what had occurred who had gotten actually taken in type shit, like to like, you know, like decide if they're a part of it or not. One person ended up getting, you know, hit with it, and that was the person who convicted, who did the crime, because everyone else had, to a degree, a lack of knowledge and or was not in a position where they committed any kind of like crime, in the sense of what they were trying to say is, oh yeah, there were potentially people that were like aiding this person,
right. Aiding and abetting,
you know, like after the incident, and you know, obviously for nobody that was the case, but they have to cross their T's, they have to dot their I's, they have to make sure. And so for a long time there, I was just like, am I going to have to go to court and testify? Am I going to have to get, you know, like involved in this in any kind of way? And there was other things that happened that I'm not going to go into detail about, just or talk about any other way, that made it even worse.
Sure.
You know, but like, just regarding the interactions with the officers and the private investigators, it just made it not. But it made me feel paranoid. Right. You know, even though I didn't do shit. Right. You know. And so that had me very. So the first time I moved to LA, that's one of the only things on my mind. How long do I have to make this music shit work before? You know, because I was really obsessed with the idea of, oh, I have to maintain this image, da 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 da. Yeah, I'm worried about fucking, if I have to, you know, if they're trying to make me testify, do I have to fucking go to jail because I don't want to fucking go in a courtroom and testify? Right. And like, whether it's because I'm fucking scared or just simply because I don't have enough fucking knowledge about anything to even go in there, right? And so, you know, like, and I'm talking about image in the music industry. Right. So that's something you don't want. You don't want a subpoena that says you have to testify against somebody who committed a crime in any shape or form. I didn't have to do anything that would necessarily, you know, fuck with my image or whatever. But like, to be honest, like, I'll just say this here first: I'm a citizen. I'm not a gangster rapper. I'm not anything. So, you know, you commit a crime next to me, you know, whatever, in that kind of way, and they are telling me I'm going to be implicated if I don't explain, you know. Right. I ain't gonna shut up about it, and so, but I don't want to. But you know, so what I'm saying is, yeah, I'm an artist. I'm not a street person. I've been in those situations before. I've kept it 100, but as a 23-year-old adult male who fucking has a future and all this other shit, yeah, the fuck out of here with that. Don't do shit like that near me. As an 18-year-old, I can keep it completely 100, fucking all that shit. Whatever, be fucking on the hush about certain things, whatever, you know. But the second you do some fucking crazy shit, and then you try and, you know, and then I get involved even though I don't know what the fuck actually happened, it's like, bro, you're lucky I didn't know what fucking happened, because I would have probably told them. Yeah. Shit. Exactly. Like, I'm not a fucking, yeah. Like, and that, like, people know this. Like, I'm not an individual that's fucking sitting here trying to portray a gangster. For sure. You know? For sure. When I was younger or whatever, there were certain things that I did in the aspect of criminal bullshit. But, and so, you know, it's not one of those things that I fuck with in any way, shape, or form as an adult. Sure. You know? Sure. So obviously that's changed, and obviously I'm partially just saying that for the fucking the man, you know. but like, you know, it's one of those things where everybody knows I'm not with that shit, and so that was a big distraction when I moved to LA, you know. Hell yeah. And I mean, as a 17, 18-year-old, like, that's like a crash course in the importance of who you surround yourself with. Yes, exactly. And like all the people around me, because I surrounded myself around individuals that had stuff to do with bullshit. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They knew that, hey, I'm not going to put my nose in shit because I don't want to know, because if it and you're not going to do shit around me like that because but you know, whatever, if it comes down to it and it has to do with protecting you, protecting me, protecting whatever, yeah, I'll be in the mix. But if it's just some bullshit, the fuck out of here around me with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it's not about being an individual that won't do something. It's about being an individual that does it right.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you get to LA, you're a little paranoid, you're really trying to make this music thing work. What happened then?
I'm in culinary school. My mental health gets fucked because of all this paranoia and because of various different things that were going on. And I drop out. I work in a warehouse for like 2 weeks and I go, fuck this, I'm making this shit happen. Sit on my computer for probably 8-9 hours a day just making, I made probably like, over a span of 2 weeks, like 40 beats.
Wow.
I hand select like 9 of them with a vision for a project called Welcome Back Golden Boy. Because I was the golden boy and I went away. So welcome back, golden boy. I hand select 9 beats out of like 35, 40 beats, something like that I made over a span of like, it was a couple weeks.
Right.
So I'm on it. I'm like, oh my God, like if whatever the fuck happens, something's coming out legendary before whatever the fuck happens.
Okay.
Because I was worried either I'm succumbing to my own mental illness, I'm fucking going to deal with fucking this fucking bullshit that's lingering over me, whatever. So the vision of this project, Welcome Back Golden Boy, is that I'm going to find every single individual that has a talent in the Bay Area that I'm associated with, make music with them. I pay for a bunch of studio sessions, a bunch of different videos for myself, and like and I engineer and mix all of it and produce all of it. I don't engineer, my bad. I mix and produce all of it, and I engineer, the shit that's been recorded at my house,
right.
Whatever, because I home studio since fucking 11 years old or 12 years old, baby. Come on now. So like, I'd fucking have all this shit done, and I edit the project down to 9 different songs with I had like almost like 12-13 features, and then I edited it to like 7-8 features and just refined it. And then I got videos going, and most of those videos haven't even came out. I just hand selected a couple of them.
Okay.
And visualizers, I saved up a bunch of money for promotion. I found a distributor that's actually going to go ahead and get my shit out there properly. Get a graphic designer for the artwork and the vision for the artwork. I'm not sure if you pop up images on here, but if you look at the artwork, there is a bunch of different symbols in the top and little things. Like, for example, you got the coronavirus, you got the all-seeing eye. You have 9 of my homies all lined up, me in the middle, like that. It's long-haired Zadoff at that point, so I got the long, and a bunch of different shit. There's a hand clutching a snake, choking it, a bunch of different shit, just little symbols in there. And in the background, there's the Bay Bridge. What it symbolizes is all the different shit that I actually was dealing with at the time and going through, as well as me and the homies just being lined up there. So basically just the homies lined up, not dealing with it, but just lined up with all that shit.
Right.
We're presenting to you Welcome Back Golden Boy.
Sure.
And that project got 10 million streams over over a course of probably like 2 years.
10, damn.
Across all platforms. And that's when I actually and before that I'd released a project. I released 2 projects. One was called the Progress EP, And there was another one that's on SoundCloud, which I don't even fucking remember the name of. Sorry. That like, and those two did probably like 300,000 combined streams, which was cool, right?
Yeah.
But like, once it hits the millions, you're like, what the fuck? And then like my Instagram started doing shit where it was blowing up because of certain interview shits mixed with like, mixed with the music itself. And yeah, you know, I do my first couple shows. I'm not headlining shit, whatever. You know, I'm just doing them. People like the music. You know, the people are singing in the crowd, whatever. I just ended up kind of getting a bit more industry connected. I end up working with Dejan, who's on that project, Dej Mac. He ends up basically allowing me to help him engineer Lil Yace. Rest in peace, Lil Yace. He's a Bay Area legend. And so I'm in the studio with a bunch of people from Empire Records, you know, and I'm just learning. I'm soaking it in.
God, like I'm 19, 20 years old?
Shit, probably 20.
Wow.
Yeah, probably 20. I'm in the studio just learning, you know, and you know, God bless Dej for helping me out with that shit. Like, and then putting, cause and shout out to Lex the boss, you know, shout out to every individual that actually allowed me to sit in on those sessions, help me engineer. Rest in peace, Lil Yace. One of the craziest fucking things is that just a little bit before Lil Yace had gotten killed, you know, it was everybody just in the studio, you know, and I don't want to go into too much detail. That's not my place. But like, it was really like, it was a blessing to be able to be in that environment and learn from it, and so that kind of just continued. That allowed me to learn more about the industry. So I learned about the music aspect of it, I learned about the independent aspect of how I do it. Now I'm learning about the industry, being a little bit part of the industry. And at that point, I had already left LA again. So sorry, at that point I had left LA for the first time.
Okay.
So I'm in the Bay Area doing this. And after learning about the industry more and more over a span of like a year and a half, just kind of going to studio sessions, sitting in, engineering, things like that. Not being a hotshot, but just being part of it.
Sure.
I then go back to LA.
Okay.
I get, and this time it's way different. Way different. And at that point, I've already hooked up with Dead Handrix. You know, Hendy had already been on my line. We're already making music. Dead Summer's being talked about because we've had our first single out, whatever. Blogs already picked up that first single. And so we're just going in, right? LA allows me to basically take what I have and elevate it around different people, allowing me to experience the industry more. That doesn't mean my numbers went up. That doesn't mean but it allows me to experience industry more as a respected individual. I got to be around individuals like, and they don't fucking, I guarantee you this guy doesn't remember, like part of the goth boy clique, Lil Tracy and people like that for a little bit. Just around in the same venues or parties or whatever. You know, and that was Lil Peep was one of my biggest inspirations, you know. Yeah. And, you know, being around my buddy Exo Louis, who brought me to so many studio sessions with different people that were just, you're not going to know them based off face value on celebrity shit, but they're fucking high up in it.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Those are the ones you want to know.
Yeah. And so, you know, just getting all that knowledge, and, you know, that was part of why, you know, TWD became what TWD was. It was because we were putting both the independent knowledge with part of the industry knowledge and mixing it in a little pot. And, you know, so when me and Hendy came together with both of our mind states and ideas, it actually worked very well, you know? And so TWD is that shit that me and Hendy founded, and we took our two baselines of what we know from music, mixed them in a pot, cooked it up, and fucking created something real, you know? It was sick. But that's really like that's like like it's weird how it progressed, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I left LA again, you know, and I'm back and I'm in Portland right now. You know, my focus right now is I have a ton of EPs and projects just just sitting there, and I just want to do shit right. I want to do shit a little bit differently. I don't necessarily want to be in the Hollywood scene, you know, and that's a whole other fucking, you know, topic of there. But like, I'm just doing shit a little bit differently right now, you know?
What brought you to Portland?
There's a couple reasons why I wanted. Like, I didn't want to necessarily be in LA at that moment, and still I just don't necessarily want to go. I don't want to live there right now. And also I found a partner, and this is just a better place to like kind of be. But like my artistic essence has become so much more potent just kind of being away from like energy suckers, for lack of a better term, in Los Angeles. And you know, people wouldn't know that because I've been on a little hiatus since I moved. But like, I mean, like, I'm sitting here not only making music but painting, drawing. I'm doing shit that has to do with fashion right now a little bit. On the DL, just being part of a little bit of little projects. So, you know, there's a lot more than I'm doing right now that's just like behind the scenes like that. Like, at a certain point, people will probably know about, but it's very like, I'm just kind of like, I'm about to take these motherfuckers by surprise, you know?
Living in silence
like,
right now, man.
Yeah, this is something that anybody who's been around me for a while and then known what I do in the music industry for a while knows this. Like, I'll do this thing where I'm real, like, everybody knows what's going on. That's my follower, and I'm gaining new fans, whatever. I'm doing, working with people, all that extra shit. It's all in your face, and I'll just be gone. And everybody that knows is that when I'm gone, I just come back a little bit harder the next time with a little bit different technique, with a little bit different story, you know. And and like, I like that because it allows my fans to have faith in me. And this is something that I think is different with an artist of my size that's smaller, you know, versus a lot of other smaller artists. They have to constantly feed their audience a bunch of shit, even if like a bunch of content, even if it's shit,
right?
You know,
right?
Just for them to stay around. For me, I kind of, and not that I want to be more consistent, but I'm able to do this thing where they know if I'm gone for a bit, when I come back, it's with a different plan, a different headspace, and it's a different thing to digest. And they're all for it, you know. And so that's a different bit of like, that's a different thing that I have that like I think a lot of other artists on my level don't have, because I'm a smaller artist, you know. Or at least I see myself as that. I don't know what anyone else is going to consider me as. I've had people tell me oh, Levi, you're fat. I'm like, fuck out of here. I am nothing. Like, I'm nothing out here. Like, shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a minnow in the sea. But you know, the fact that like my fans have enough faith in me for me being just like not huge, and they can like fucking sit there and like whenever I do come back, they're like, oh shit, he's back. You know, that shit's cool as fuck. It's something a lot of people don't have, you know?
Hell yeah. What do you consider your biggest accomplishments?
I don't know. There's been times where I think my biggest accomplishments revolve around numbers or beating other people in this like race of artistry. And we could say, oh, Welcome Back Golden Boy was one of my biggest accomplishments with the numbers. But like for me, my biggest accomplishment is the ability is my ability to continually innovate my own art in a way that I feel is good. It doesn't have to make other people feel good, even if it does or doesn't. But like I innovate my art in a way that makes me feel good and feel like I'm making progress consistently whenever I fucking sit there on that computer, do music, or sit here on my fucking couch and play guitar, or, you know, that's like my, like being in a race with myself. I'm winning, and that is my biggest accomplishment.
Hell yeah.
That and my ability to. I know you're gonna say something else, but like the other thing I want to say is my ability to intertwine like my faith in God with my music. Okay. Like, yeah, like that's something where like I've been trying to do that for a long time, and I'm glad that I've been able to.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And I mean, you're telling me a little bit about this this girl that you're with. She seems to be very supportive of the music hustle. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not like a typical kind of like rapper that's like rapper or artist that's kind of like out here doing kind of weird stuff that maybe somebody wouldn't be comfortable with. It's like a very kind of like down to earth, like, and nowadays I'm a more down to earth individual.
Sure.
That anything that I do with my music, there wouldn't be any reason to kind of not be supportive of it, because it's all coming from a place of trying to grow my own self and my own art, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, very, very, very supportive. But it's also because I'm not maybe doing the typical things that a lot of artists that tour or have clout on Instagram or whatever do, you know what I mean? Like type shit. Like, you know, I hate saying that shit, clout on Instagram. Fucking like, shut the fuck up.
What about biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome?
Screen recorder still good?
Yep.
Awesome. My bad. I did my shit. Pause. My biggest obstacles have always been my mental health and myself. There's not like, I don't know. J. Cole says go toe to toe with the Giants. you go toe to toe with the Giants, and you know you either win or you compete, whatever. You do well. You realize your obstacles aren't other people or shit. It's yourself. Your knowledge of your music. It's your knowledge of what you're doing. It's your peace within. It's your faith in whatever it is that you believe in or don't believe in. Whether that is yourself, God, fucking 12,000 gods, nature, it doesn't matter. You know, the biggest obstacle is yourself always.
Absolutely, man. What does music do for your mental health?
It has done a lot of different things for my mental health. Like what? It's done good. It's done bad. It's done fucking. It's done loop-de-loops. I mean, like, I've had times where my music makes me feel like I'm on top of the world, and I've had times where my music digs me in a deeper hole. And it really all depends on what I'm creating. I think that's something that's so cool about my art, and not to toot my own horn, but like that's something that's cool about my art. It's like it's entrenched in what I currently and what I feel in the moment, you know?
It's like method rapping.
Yeah, totally. You know? Yeah, it just depends. Like, so, like, I'm doing I'm creating what I feel, and like, so, like, if I'm feeling like shit and I make something that's depressing, it's not gonna make me feel better. Make me feel like I accomplished something, but I'm not gonna feel happier because of it, like type shit. I'm gonna be more fucking in my feels, baby, because I made something that is for the feels, you know. But if I'm like on top of the world triumphing and I make a song about that, it's in that mood, motherfucker, yeah. Or if like I'm feeling something that makes me feel a little bit, shout out toxic, a little toxic, I'm gonna be toxic. You know, like it just depends, and I think that's a cool thing. I think a lot of people feel that way, and a lot of people don't. It kind of just depends on the artist, you know. That's what I do, at least.
I think most people I've spoken to don't feel that way. Like if they are going through some depression or anxiety and they make a song about it, they feel like they left it in the booth. You know what I mean? But that's interesting. Like method actors, like you kind of entrench yourself. You dive into this song and you live that song.
I'm also just an overthinker, bro. Like you know, like it's not even just necessarily the fact that I'm entrenched in the piece of art that I'm creating. That just comes naturally. I wouldn't create the art if I don't feel it fully.
Okay.
That's how, like, that's a downfall. That's a fucked up thing as well with my art to a degree. Like if I don't feel it, I can't make it. And so that definitely hinders me to a degree. But you know, like, I guess when it comes to like that comparison to like method acting, it's like if it wasn't fucking something I felt, I wouldn't make it in the first place. And so yeah, I mean, it's probably different than other people, but yeah, I don't know.
For sure. What's the dream?
I want to have a bunch of kids and like have them be like, tell me stories about the music shit, Dad. You know what I mean? And be able to tell them like a lot of cool stories about tour and whatever, you know, like, and like, I don't know, like I also just want to be able to like impact enough people to where I can go and do shows whenever the fuck I want. It's a big fucking venue, whatever it's tracked out. I can go fucking in, like I can have people like I want it to be like I impact enough individuals where like this music shit is just like it's my life. Yeah. You know, I'm not necessarily obsessed with. I want accolades. I want, you know, all that extra shit. But like at the end of the day, those accolades come from impacting individuals, and so that's really the idea there. You know, I just want to make people feel something, and I want them to tell me that.
Hell yeah. I know you're kind of on a hiatus right now, but do you have anything coming up? Do you have a plan on how you're gonna explode back onto the scene?
Oh, I have a plan. I'm not going to discuss the plan necessarily, but there's like 4 projects. I'm going to condense it probably into like 2. And I think I'm just going to really like try to, I don't know. I'm doing things a little bit differently in the sense that it'll be a me thing and not a me and a bunch of people thing.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've done like a me project, and so I'm just trying to optimize that, figure out how I properly engage enough people with that. So I have 4 EPs in my vault right now. I'm going to condense them to 2 different projects. And at that point, I'm probably going to be coming out with a whole different strategy on how I release them. That kind of involves a mini docu-series. Yeah, it's going to be cool. I need to save up a little bit of money so I can hire somebody for PR. And I can send my distribution some money as well for shit. But there's a lot of fucking just really good music just sitting there waiting to be released, and I'm excited as fuck for it.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows how it goes. You wait a little bit, you get some good shit. You wait a little bit, you get some more good shit. That's how it always has gone. That's how it'll probably continue. I'll try to be more consistent, babies, but I have no fucking idea if I will. Just know when it comes out, it'll be wonderful.
Hell yeah, the docu-series is a good idea. Not people aren't doing that. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, I've seen bigger artists do it. I haven't seen any kind of like smaller people do it, but I don't know. I guess I have the gift of gab. When I talk about shit, people want to. They're like, "Oh, what's he saying?" So, you know, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Before we end the interview, is there any kind of life advice that you would leave for anybody watching?
Yeah, if you haven't found a belief system, find a belief system. Trust in whatever you believe created you, whether that is chance, the universe, God himself. I personally like to believe in God. Yeah. Find a belief system, live by it.
Hell yeah.
Be grounded, find peace in yourself.
Absolutely, bro.
It means find God, motherfuckers. Find fucking God. Handy says
And that's a threat.
exclamation point, but this shit's gonna be ended on that shit. So Handy says 1 sec exclamation point. Oh fuck.
If he hops back in, we'll see what happens. But I'll do the outro now just in case. But yeah, I appreciate your time, bro. This has been a great conversation with character with Levi Zadoff. Hit him up. Watch the other interview I did with him and Dead Handrix. It talks about their beef that they kind of had while they were touring, and now they're getting back together and they're gonna take over the world. I swear to God, y'all. Check him out. Follow him up. Hit him up. Check his music out. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Baruch Hashem. Handy, with them beautiful strawberry shorts, man. When it comes to the people, if you had one thing to say to the people in general, you know, anything, what is it that you need to say for this outro, baby?
Yo, fuck you if you're not a zombie.
Yeah, if they ain't a zombie, fuck them.
Get zombified.
You ain't
Start listening to TWD, bro. Because we back and better than ever.
The most prestigious network in the land, the Signature Series Network.